All right. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to Talking Investing. Going live this morning. This is not my normal thing. I will still do my live stream at the end of the day today after the market closes. But a lot of stuff happened yesterday afternoon and overnight, and I didn't get a chance to get on here, so I wanted to get on and talk about it. We're testing an important line right now, and a bunch of other stuff happened in the Bitcoin world, so there's a lot to talk about. Jeff, good morning. Yes, a morning stream. I know I feel like we've had a trend reversal and we got to talk about it. Good morning, Martin. Brent, welcome. Yeah, yesterday. The Pug abides. Welcome, Pug. Pugsy. Finally got to my 19K. Yeah, Jeff, that's right. There were 3 or 4 people really calling for 19, and we're in that neighborhood, and we're under 20 at the moment. We did have a little fake out this morning. We had a little run up, but that stopped, so we'll see. I think there's a lot of volatility ahead. We don't know which way we're going. I think we did have a reversal of trend, and so that's what I want to discuss to see where we go next. I know a couple people are mentioning the 30%. The proposed, so in the United States, there was legislation proposed to tax Bitcoin miners on the energy that they use, a 30% use tax. And so we'll talk more about that. I will tell you, it phases in over 3 years. 10%, 20%, 30%. I do not believe that's ever going to happen. That would be that would be bad news. I think you see the Bitcoin miners probably mitigate their amount that they're mining in the US if that happens. I also think Texas will have something to say about all that because they have embraced Bitcoin mining. So there's the key to remember is, and for starters, nothing's getting passed for the next 2 years because we now have, for those of you outside the U.S., we have one party at the presidency and another party in Congress. So typically when that happens, gridlock is the most likely outcome. Now, if everybody hates Bitcoin, if they all get together and this is something they rally around, then I suppose it could go through, but I feel like that's unlikely. But you can't say it's not going to happen. I mean, they're proposing it, and these are the things we've been talking about and worried about. This is just one piece of the potential legislation that is out there in the U.S. regarding the entire cryptocurrency universe. This one is really a direct attack on Bitcoin because through proof of stake, all the other coins put together don't really use the energy that Bitcoin uses. So this is an attack on the Bitcoin miners. I don't think it's going to end up happening, but it is definitely causing fear right now, and you can't rule it out. It could happen. So we're going to have to wait and see, but I think you're going to see a lot of revisions and potential compromises. Ultimately, I don't think it makes sense. There's really no rationale to mine one particular. I'm not even sure that law makes sense. We'll see. There's going to be big pushback on that, but it's certainly not good news, and it certainly doesn't help on a day where we were already headed in the wrong direction. And I'm going to zoom out and show you that, in my opinion, what I've been talking about for a long time, what I've been worried about, happened yesterday. So I think temporarily anyway, we've changed momentum from short-term bullish to short-term bearish. However, then when we zoom in even further, in the very, very short term, I think we may have a little rebound here. But I think it's going to be inside of what may now be more of a move in a bearish direction. Jeff said sounds a lot like the New York crypto ban. I mean, so states like New York, California, there's a half a dozen other states that tend to jump out ahead of everybody else and do things that ultimately most of the rest of the country and the federal government does not follow. So I'm not sure that that's an indicator of what's to come. Particularly New York, which is now, I think, the 4th biggest state in the country. It used to be the largest state by population in the country. It's been a long time since that's true. California is now by far the largest state in population, although their population is decreasing. And then Texas and then Florida. So those are the top 4. California has a monumental amount of regulations. So I'm surprised they're not out ahead of everybody on this, especially since they have not only more regulations than everybody else, but the grid there is already suffering before any of this. So I don't think anybody's even set up shop to try to mine crypto in California, because they know that that would probably be a failure ultimately. SVB is the canary in the coal mine, said Miner Doc. So the thing is, and this is what a lot of this. So this is where we get into. There's a lot of news. There's a lot of things happening, but what do they ultimately mean? And so if we look at, some of these things, like I'll start with the proposed legislation. Like, that's very scary talk. So in the short term, that's going to have a big impact. But what is it going to be in the long term? So this is again where you get into the day trading versus long-term investing. If you think the narrative is changing, if you think, it would be if the United States federal government imposes a tax on energy used for mining Bitcoin, then that would be a direct assault, and that will have an impact. But what is the impact of that going to be remains to be seen, because one of the potential impacts of that is that it's going to drive up the price of Bitcoin. Another potential impact is it's going to drive Bitcoin miners out of the United States, which I don't think ultimately, once the people that understand cryptocurrency get into the conversation, they will explain to the rest of the people there, who most of which who don't really even know what a Bitcoin is, that that's not a direction that they want to be moving in. But they're fantastic talking points, particularly if they know they're not going to happen. Then they can really rev up the political rhetoric. Mike is saying peak FUD. Yeah, we definitely, this was, thanks, Robert. Yeah, I just, you know what? I didn't get a chance. I'm still wrapping up some stuff. And so yesterday I got completely sidetracked on a very important day. I was unable to do a video, and I didn't want to have to be in delayed reaction here. We got stuff going on, so I wanted to jump on and talk about it. And I'll ask everybody, since this was last minute spur of the moment, if you could please smash the like button. That helps spread. YouTube will spread the live stream out to more people, since we had very little notice. So I would appreciate that. Let's get some people on this live stream. I want to get some polls going and get some conversation going. So yeah, let's look at, so the DXY, Raul is saying the DXY the rates and the market are down, equals undecided. Right. That's, the DXY's down. Well, it's saying 1% here, but every step in this direction, it's at 104. 103 is my magic number on the DXY, which is basically a measure of the U.S. dollar. For those of you who don't know, I'm sure most of you do. 103 is crucial on this. When we got under 103, the market really rallied. That was that January rally in the market. Bitcoin is equally, if not more so, affected by this. There's definitely an inverse relationship there. So the lower this gets, if this could get back under 103, ultimately get down to 100 or 99 or 98, where it's spent, 103 was a 20-year high. And then we spent all last year above that. So we're just on the brink now, back down to 104. But again, super ambiguous. Everything's at a spot that's very, very ambiguous. Like everything's right at that line of, okay, you know, which way does it go from here? So that's what I want to go through today, particularly pertaining to Bitcoin, where it goes from here, you know, in the next day, in the next week, in the next month, and what we need to see if we can have a reversal of trend. Because this did, I'm going to zoom out. This is the 1-day time frame. So I've been saying, really, we peaked here. This was February 16th. So not quite a month ago, but, you know, coming up on 4 weeks ago, we had about a full week where we were testing the top of this range. We had a purple line. This was my price target for this rally, $25,200. We tested that and we failed. However, I did say through this whole period of time, I thought this pullback up until this plateau right here, this pullback I thought was healthy, and it was not an indication of a reversal in what's happening. And what I felt that we needed to hold was this line right here, which was at 21,478, call it 21,500. And, you know, by breaking this line, and you can see once we got this purple line here at 22,400-ish, we were trading sideways, holding that line. Once that broke, we just ran straight down, right through this line, all the way down to this 19,890. This pink line, or whatever this color is, that was the high in 2017 from the previous bull market. So that's a significant line. That's a line that up until this time we had never crossed. But as you can see, this time around we did get substantially below that. But now here we are, and we are right exactly at the line. I mean, we're on that line as we speak. So I think it's going to be important to watch today's candle to see if this becomes a line of support, or do we just keep going down from here. But we took this out. So, you know, if I go like this, this was these were our series of higher lows, and we were having a series of higher highs. So a pullback and a retest would have been fine. I thought we would bounce back up and retest here. That obviously did not happen, and now we broke the line. So now, like, that's dead now. And we actually even broke that one, so that's dead now. So now we need to see where we go from here. The one good thing sometimes about Bitcoin, it moves very fast. So really, this line of support, I felt if we broke this line of support, we were going to end up at this line. Well, we didn't just end up there. We, like, sprinted there. It was the same night. So there's a chance we could hold here. But I will say, now that we've created this, now that we broke out of these higher lows, we are now trending down. So whereas I've been saying for a long time that, you know, I've been going through this and just saying, look, that's it, we're inside of a bullish rally here. You know, whether it turns into a long-term bull cycle or not remain to be seen, but we were still inside of a bullish rally as long as we held above this line right here, in my opinion. So now, you know, it was a nice run and it was 2 full months, but it looks like this rally is over. We may start the next rally at some point, but this rally, so if we go from the bottom back in November to the top, which was somewhere in the middle of February, mid to late February, this was almost a 64% rally in Bitcoin. So I did think, I will let you guys know, and for those of you who are familiar with the channel, you'll know, I did think we were going to go retest this line again, and we were setting up nicely to potentially, there's a giant gap above this that I thought we may be able to fill and run up to this line. So that did not happen. So that is now completely nullified. And now, instead of this arrow heading up, I would say that, now we peaked here. And, now, and I don't think we're to accelerate down at this level, but, now we have a momentum line going in the wrong direction. So that's the first thing. That's the first poll I'm going to put up right now is, sorry, almost done typing. All right, so super simple poll. Basically, yes or no. So, does 20K support hold? Question mark. Yes, we go up from here, or no, the next move is down. So, we've been doing a series of polls over the last month, and yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before? Really, before we had this giant move to the downside, for the very first time, we had our polls go negative, where more people were bearish than bullish. For the first 3 times we ran this poll, the results were almost identical. Just about 75% of the people thought the next move was up. That changed yesterday to, I think, 70% of the people thinking that the next move is down. So that's the history of this. So we had some pretty consistent levels that we were going to head up. People yesterday started to lose confidence for the first time, and right away we did have a move to the downside. So that poll proved to be instantly correct. Hello, Alex. The halving is a year away. If history stay true, we will be aboard a rocket. Patience. Have patience. So that is the hardest thing to do. And that, in the stock market in general, people have preached patience for a long time. In Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in specific, I think it's even harder to be patient because of the additional volatility, right? It's these moves are vicious compared to what happens in the stock markets. So for those of you who've been trading in the market over long periods of time, we're not used to these types of violent moves up and down and up and down. And it does test your resolve, and it's harder and harder to be patient when things are moving, that viciously, and things turn, and, momentum is real, FOMO is real, fear is real, so those tend to dictate in the short term. Alex is saying after the halving is the largest escalation of the Bitcoin price. So that's what I'm still thinking. A lot of people on the channel have been talking about, I think in we have, for those of you who are interested, let me just do this. One moment, please. See if that works. Okay, I just posted a link. For those of you who are interested, we do have a membership. It's $5 a month. We have a bunch of people on with us right now that are members. And, it's a small fee. It helps support the channel. I appreciate it a lot. I will tell you guys the YouTube revenue is like falling off the edge of a cliff. Not that anybody cares, but that's what's happening. And I think you'll see a lot of YouTubers doing a lot less videos, and some of them are just disappearing altogether, and that's the reason why. I don't know if that trend is going to continue. In any event, the point is the membership does have its privileges. We do a once-a-week member live stream every Tuesday after the market closes. We have a members-only Discord, and more importantly than that, the members each week have picked a company for me to do a deep dive on. So we did do a deep dive on Silvergate before that whole thing unraveled. So, you know, I feel like the members, we have a very strong membership, and we've been a little bit ahead of the curve. We've had a high quality level of conversation in there. So you're welcome to join us. And my point of all that was in the last members only, we talked a lot about the 2025 leap options for a lot of these Bitcoin miners. And that goes to what Alex was talking about, which is by then, the halving will not only be over, but we will have had a nice period of time afterwards. You know, there's times where it takes a certain amount of months to get, you know, that next move to the upside. And, you know, by January of 2025, I would almost say, you know, if it hasn't happened by January 2025, people are going to have to start rethinking where Bitcoin is going. And it's going to depend, right? Regulations, FUD, a lot of other stuff can push this out. So, you know, nothing is a given, but the pattern's been pretty strong with Bitcoin in particular and cryptocurrency overall. This 4-year cycle has been, you know, they say history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. Well, it's pretty much rhymed every time. It's definitely, you know, each one of these is not like the last one, but there's definite patterns to be pulled out of here. So it would be outside influences potentially in the short term that could disrupt those patterns. So that would be the question. Jeff is asking, Tom, will you finally buy Bitcoin if this is our last dip? I have a number in my head, Jeff. It's funny that you mentioned that I will buy Bitcoin. So we're not there yet. But if it's not all the way down, for those of you who follow the channel, George does our live streams with us, and you know, he thinks we're going to have a very big move to the downside. So I'm not anticipating that, but I do think there's a number. If this continues and we retest our lows, I'm probably going to buy some Bitcoin at that point, because for those of you who don't follow, I'm very heavily invested in the Bitcoin miners, so I felt like it was doubling down to hold both Bitcoin and the miners with the amount. I'm taking the leveraged play. That has been the wrong move for the last full year, other than January of 2023, where things were off to the races. So, you know, a lot of people that are subscribers and members mentioned that they got back actually all the way to break even in that run, that maybe 6-week run we took in January and the first half of February of 2023. So for those people that stuck with it and were patient, like Alex talked about, right, and dollar cost averaged in, then RIOT, thank you, Scott. Scott has joined the Talking Investing Squad. Welcome, our newest member. So there's a bunch of content there waiting for you. I appreciate that. You can check that out after the stream. And then you can join us on our live stream next Tuesday after the market closes, which is only 2 more trading days away. So thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciation to all members. Raul saying do the opposite of the poll. I'm going to check in on the poll. I haven't even looked yet. All right. Well, okay. Let's see. Let's give it time. It's not super decisive yet, so let's get some more votes. It's free to vote. It's free to vote. Vote your conscience. Isn't that what they say? And let's get anybody, if you're able to, if you can smash the like button, it helps the live stream out a lot, so I would appreciate it. This is not my normal live stream time. This could be my first morning live stream ever, I believe. So usually we do this after the market closes and talk about things after it closes. Let's take a look at what Bitcoin is doing right now. So I'm going to get rid of this. No, that's not what I want to do. Okay, so that's getting in the way. Sorry. Okay, so we got a little bit, so we've got no momentum here in either direction, basically, essentially. Since we took this move down, once we passed here, we ran right down to here, and you can see this is neither support nor resistance yet. Like, we bounced off, and it looked like it was going to hold. We went under. We had this fake out. This is all this morning. This is very short term. These are 15-minute candles. So, you know, for a couple hours this morning, we ran all the way back up. We got as high as 20,305, and then we ran back under 20,000, where we still are right now, 19,991. So we're hanging around this $20,000 line, and really the actual line of support technically is 19,890. That's where I have it. Obviously, every single chart is going to be a little bit different. So, you know, somewhere in that range is the next potential line of support. And I'm going to show you why I do think this line may hold temporarily, and we may have a little bit of a run up. But I do think that, again, I think now the momentum has shifted. I think we had 8 full weeks, maybe more, maybe 10 weeks, where the momentum was upward. And I'm going to go to a chart and show you. I mean, the Bitcoin miners, some of them had massive, massive reactions to the upside. So, you know, we still haven't given those gains back for the most part. So let's just look at that real quick. No, that's not what I'm looking at. Okay, so this is year to date through last Friday. So it is now this Friday. So obviously this schedule is now 1 week out of date. I will update this after the market closes. But you can see, even through all the momentum, not including this week. Now, we took a big leg down this week, but, you know, Core Scientific was up. This is from January 1st through last Friday. You'll see a lot of these up 389%. DigiHost, 258%. Cypher, 188%. We still had Iris, Bit Digital, Bitfarms that were all up over 100%. Hive, Riot, Marathon, Hut, you know, between 85 and 100%. So, you know, it's even the run we just took has not given these back. And let's just pick one. Let's pick, you know, I'm going to pick Marathon because that's the second largest market cap. So if I go here, Marathon was at $6.38. And let's just see where we are now. I know we've lost ground this week pretty much across the board. So $5.46. So you can see we're giving a lot of that. We gave a lot of that back. Market cap of Marathon is now $637. So also for those of you who are interested, there's somehow people have gotten the impression that I despise Marathon, and that is not true at all. So I think if you watch, I just did a Marathon video, and I've probably done at least 20 Marathon videos. And I really just try and give you guys information and monthly updates and tell you what happened. So there were an awful lot of months where they disastrously missed their targets from an operational standpoint. So there have been a two-sided conversation going on all along with Marathon. One side is, I think their balance sheet is fantastic. I think they're financially very sound. The other side is, operationally, they've picked a little bit of a different way to go about their business. And, you know, in 2022, that did not work. I think they've turned the corner and they're moving towards where they wanted to be. And I've been saying for the last, you know, year and a half, if they get to where they're going, you know, if by December 31st, 2023, they're at 23 exahash and they're doing their thing, then you know what? It was a lot of growing pains, but it all worked out in the end. But the thing is, we don't know that unless and until they get there. So to me, that's the upside downside on this. But I do think there's a potential massive upside. This is now a $637 million stock. In November of 2021, the market cap on Marathon was $7.5 billion. So, this is down way more than 90%, even after this big run-up it's had this year. So it did give some of this back, but it was up 87%. It's still up 50, 60% right now, even after this week. From January 1st. So that's from its lows. Jeff said, we love Mara. I'm fairly certain that is sarcastic. Because, Jeff, I don't believe you, Jeff. Chris Dominator said, George said that March will be very good, ? Yes. George was on record as saying March was going to be great. So far, I'm going to say through the first 10 days of March, that is not how this is playing out at all. So we will get George, I think, although they just went somewhere. I'm not sure when he's going to get back. George should be on the live stream after the market closes today. And then you guys can have that conversation and see what he has to say for himself. But George likes to hedge his bets. He likes to say that we're going up, but we're going down, but we're going up, but we're going down. So that's George. So we'll see him later. Jeff said, I'm turning around on Mara, especially if I can buy them in the low fours. So, I mean, that's how I'm feeling. Like, things, I'm going to tell, one of the reasons I wanted to come on today was just, to let everybody know, I didn't buy anything yesterday. So we had, yesterday, all the Bitcoin, Bitfarms was down 13%, HUT was down 13%. I mean, this was a very, very, very red board. But I did not buy anything because all of the dollar cost averaging that I did in November and December mainly, and I ramped up big time at that point, we're really nowhere near back to those numbers yet. And since we broke our trend, so if I go to the 1 day, that's the 1 week. So if I go to the once we crossed this line right here, I felt like the momentum has now shifted. And I don't want to buy, if the next leg is down, I don't want to start averaging in right here. I'd rather see where we go. If we bounce off of this and go straight back up, then I missed one opportunity to buy. But, if we go down and test, I got a line here very close to 19,000, then around 18,100, 17,500 was the flash crash back in June of 2022. So that's coming up on a year ago now. So these are all very strong potential lines of support. I don't believe we'll get past. I don't even believe we'll get down to this. I certainly don't think we'll get past this. After the FTX situation, we got all the way down here, really closer to 15,500. So, technically, if we were going to go all the way back and retest our lows, that's where we would go. I don't believe that is true, but I do think we just shifted to a bearish period of time. So maybe that's 3 to 6 weeks where we're, doing, and again, remember, nothing moves in a straight line. Just as we saw the movements up and down here, we may end up doing one of these and then maybe failing there and then, maybe turning around here. I don't know. And obviously that's just a random who knows, but I do think we're going to have a push up shortly, but I don't think that's representative of the fact that we are still bullish. I think we're now so oversold that we're going to have, a little bit of a move up to make up for that fact. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Alex said, I'm full of cash, ready to pounce. So, question to you guys. Did you guys buy yesterday? Did everybody else use yesterday as a buying opportunity? And if you did, I mean, it certainly was a potential buying opportunity. most of these Bitcoin miners were down substantially yesterday. So if your positions are not filled out and you're still dollar cost averaging and buying in, then certainly it's hard to argue that yesterday wasn't a good buying opportunity. I also don't think it's a coincidence, and Hive isn't really participating in this, but Bitfarms and HUT are up. They're green, and I think that has a lot to do with, for a while, people were worried about what was going on in Canada as it related to regulations with Bitcoin. Now, all of a sudden, yesterday, with this potential tax on the energy to mine Bitcoin, people are worried about what's happening in the United States with Bitcoin. So I think all those are short-term things, but that's one of the reasons I think those are running out today. Jeff bought some Dutch Bros. So for those of you who are members, you'll know that Dutch Bros has been in the vote, I think, 3 or 4 times now. It came in second place last time, so we have yet to do our Dutch Bros deep dive. Barry said, I didn't notice yesterday until today. Well, that might be for the best, Barry. I didn't make any moves, and I'm not, obviously, I always have to say this is not financial advice. You guys, everybody's got their own portfolio, time period, risk tolerance, etc. So, everyone's in a different spot. But for me, even with a big down day, normally, and I looked, and I had the very strong urge to buy, but I resisted, and we'll see. I think maybe a week or a week and a half from now, we may be in a lower place than this. But the reason I'm saying I think maybe the next move is up in the short term, this is the 4-hour time frame. I have a blue dotted line right here. This is like all-time lows on the 4-hour time frame. We very rarely, and from time to time, this is under 10 on the daily RSI. So if I scroll back, you'll see we got there. Okay, so when FTX fell apart, that's how much we got oversold on the 4-hour time frame. So that was back in early November. So you can see that's like crisis level oversold on the 4-hour time frame. I have to go back. None of these got there. This was the June. This was the June flash crash. I mean, we were down $5,000-$10,000, and we didn't even get this oversold on the 4-hour time frame. So you can see, I mean, that line holds. That is the absolute bottom on the 4-hour RSI. So because of that, I think, maybe we have some room to move up in the short term. And then, I mean, we have gone from the absolute top. This is really, this is almost 90, which is monumentally overbought, down to under 10, which is monumentally oversold. So on the 4-hour time frame, we've taken the entire journey. So we'll see. Even if we start to take the journey, this journey back up, for as long as we're under 50, in my opinion, we may hit lower lows with Bitcoin as the RSI gets healthier. It's usually when we cross this line at 50 and we start going up into this area that's when Bitcoin makes its big moves. So get rid of all that nonsense. So this is where you got to really make sure you're not getting faked out and you don't have knee-jerk reactions, and you got to play it by ear and see what's going on. You can also join our Discord, by the way. We have a free Discord, and then we have a members-only Discord for the members. So we have a decent amount of members now, and we have a very good conversation going in there, so I encourage you to do that. Again, I left a link in the chat for those of you interested in joining the membership. It does support the channel. It's $5 a month, so there is that. But I think it's worth more than that in the returns that you get from it. Jeff likes the morning stream. I don't know. I mean, let me know, you guys. Let's see if we can get some likes and members and everything. And if the morning streams are successful, I like the morning stream. The most frustrating thing about making a video is by the time you prep for the video, you make the video, you edit the video, you upload the video, they review the video. I mean, you're in the opposite of real time. So I am going to add more live streams if I can, draw some people here. And if you can smash anybody who's on here, if you could please smash the like button, it just helps bring more people to the live stream. The more likes this gets, the more YouTube pushes out the stream and lets more people know that we're live and streaming. So that is helpful. And obviously these streams are only worth doing if somebody's watching. So I appreciate everybody who's here. A bunch of the members are here. So thanks again to the members. Brent, let's do it every morning. I mean, there's some people that do that. There's people that live stream every morning. If I got to a point where I thought that made sense and, I would prep overnight and do live streams in the morning if we can get people to show up. I want to make sure these are productive streams for the channel so that we can keep the channel growing and moving forward, because the whole point of this is to grow the channel so that we can, the larger this group is, and we have a super, I've said this 100 times or 1,000 times, we have a super, super high quality group on this channel. I believe that this is not a normal YouTube channel, and, we don't have the gigantic numbers. We don't have 100,000 subscribers or 1 million subscribers, but we have real subscribers and very high quality investors that subscribe. So, I love that part of this, and that's part of the reason why I did the membership. And I did, even though, it's not the most cost-effective way to do this, I partnered with YouTube because I figure if you're here, you're already on YouTube. You don't have to go join a third party. You don't have to do a Patreon or some other mystery thing where you have to give all your personal information. If you're on YouTube or Google, they've already got everybody's information anyway. So it makes it easier. And we've had great conversations. So I would consider, I will try more. So right now, we just got to 100 concurrent viewers. So thank you, everybody. Let's see if we can get to 100 likes. We've been on a streak of getting to 100 likes. Now, I know this was an out-of-the-blue live stream. So it's going to be hard to do. But we're at 61 likes, and you never know. You guys are good at this. So I want to go to the 1 day as well.
Behind the scenes.
Oh, we are live.
I know, I'm sort of behind the scenes.
Get in the picture.
I'm in the picture.
No, you got to get down here. We have a visitor. We have a live. I don't know if you can see him in the background.
There, how about that?
Ha! George.
Hi.
George live.
I'm doing behind the scenes with Tom. so things you don't get to see. What is
this?
Look at that. See?
This is a documentary. We'll post this later.
I just keep the camera down a lot.
George is actually always here. You just don't know it.
No, I'm not.
No, he's not at all.
No, but, I mean, Tom, you go out with me? I figured I'd ask on stream.
No. Sorry. Sometimes
right,
the truth hurts. Well, welcome. Enjoy, George.
See ya. Wasn't that funny?
So that's George, everybody. For those of you new to the channel, George is usually with us on every live stream. He also has a full-time business that he runs in addition to that, and a family. So, sometimes he can't make it on here. Hi, George. I didn't get to read any of these to George. Brent said George can't gloat yet because we aren't at 15K. So you're going to have to get him on the 4 o'clock live stream, because I got a feeling he's going to want to gloat about today's activity. But let's hold his feet to the fire on that one. Gorilla George, the man, the myth, the legend. Yeah, George. We live about 10 miles away from each other, so it's a quick trip, and I think he was passing by on his way to somewhere else. But that was a live visit from George, so you never know what's going to happen on a live stream. Jeff said, everyday stream is only good for day trading, in my opinion. So, I mean, there's definitely some truth to that. Some of the people that are everyday live streamers are going through day trades. And for those of you familiar with the channel, this really is not a day trade channel at all. I do some swing trades with options. It's the smaller part of what I do. I am, by and large, and for the most part, I feel a presence in my presence. I think I missed a George spotting. Barry said, LOL, my dad's from the north of Ireland. I must have missed the rest of that. Oh, CR said, technology is cool. I'm in the north of Ireland. All right, so welcome from north of Ireland and from all other parts of the world. Always feel free to drop in the comments where you guys are from. That's another great thing about our audience. We're very international. We have people from all over the globe. That's the plus side of technology. I can complain about technology, a lot of different things, but that's the good part. We can all reach out as a community all across the world, and I'm going back to the 15-minute time frame just so everybody knows. So far on this live stream, we've had positive Bitcoin activity. And then let's just look, if I go through, I usually end there. So Bitfarms is up 5% today. HUT's up 2%. Still mostly red, but nobody's getting crushed. I mean, this would be the day. I thought last night, maybe today we were really going to get wrecked. But the Bitcoin miners actually are doing just fine. Riot is at 0 right now, so Marathon is in the green. So Riot and Marathon are the two largest market caps by far. Cypher is the third largest market cap, although it's significantly less. That's down 2.8%. Iris Energy is having a big up day, 5.86%. So, there's no disasters on this board, really. You guys know how volatile these miners are. 10, 15, 20% moves are pretty common. So we're really in the 0, 1, 2, 3% range for most of these miners today. So a very, very steady day, which leads me to believe that I think people are looking at what I'm looking at and saying, in the short term, we're so wildly oversold. I'm going to go back to that 4-hour because that really, I can't overstate how oversold we are. We bounced off of this 9 on the 4-hour RSI, which is as low as I've ever seen this. So that's kind of historically low, which means that in the very short term, the next few days or week, there's going to be probably some buying pressure to bounce up from here. But the key becomes this line here. I have a blue line at 50, and you can see the last time around we got to oversold, we got to 50, and we got rejected. So we took this leg down right here. If you guys can see, this one giant red candle was the rejection from 50. Then we got back up. We didn't even get to 50. We got rejected again. And this time we got to historically oversold levels. So these two levels you very rarely see. Like we approached 90. You almost never see that. We approached 9. I think we've only ever seen that. The FTX, the day FTX fell to pieces, we got down this low on the daily RSI, and that's it. So Brent said Iris Energy was a big addition for me recently, so that was a good move, and they've had a lot of good momentum, and I expect next month's operational report from them to be even better. Chris Dominators asking, what do you think about Bit Digital, Bit, stock ticker BTBT? I like that company. I mean, I don't know if they're about to go off to the races or anything, but they've had a huge turnaround, in my opinion. There was a lot of clouds hanging over their head. You know, a year and a half ago, most of their machines were in China. There was a short report, you know, claiming those machines weren't even real. That stock was a mess, but they have completely rehauled their balance sheet, in my opinion. The one thing that I will say, in my opinion, about BTBT is I think they're at about 1.3 exahash right now. They're mining over 100 Bitcoin per month. The thing I like about them, their balance sheet is very, very strong. This is a healthy company. They're not going out of business. But they also represent that they have a lot of additional machines, and I just don't think those machines are ever going to get plugged in. I think from this day forward, you know, they bought 10,000 of the 19s, you know, that are about 100, and that's the bulk of what they have plugged in and running. So those are efficient machines. I think the rest of their machines, with the difficulty level from November of 2021, when Bitcoin was at $69,000 until today, has almost exactly doubled. So, you know, that's like a halving right there. So all those machines that they had running 2-3 years ago that some people said didn't even exist at all anyway, I don't think those are ever going to get plugged back in. But that leaves them still with the 1.3 exahash and a very strong balance sheet. So I think that's one of the safer plays. And I'm waiting for them to make a move because they have the money. You know, even if they buy at 1.3 exahash, if they go buy, you know, another 10,000 machines, they practically double. So I think that's, to me, that's a safer. That went from a wildly oversold play that people were skeptical whether it was a real company to now I feel like if you just take it for what it is, forget about the 2 exahash machines that they talk about those machines and they say, you know, those are not yet re-energized, but you know, it's been a year plus since they took them down and brought them from China. I just think they're older models. There is a list. You can see the exact list of machines they have. So I don't know that they'll ever get those plugged in. That's the harder part of this. The conversation has shifted massively. The hardest part of this Bitcoin mining, as it turns out, at least for now, is consistent access to affordable power. Those are the companies that have been doing well. So the companies that vertically integrated and maybe spent some more on infrastructure up front, but they rely more on themselves for energy than they do on others, have had a smoother ride. And I think that's going to be more and more true. Now you see they've got potential legislation out there to punish people for selling energy to Bitcoin miners. Again, I believe that will not ever happen, but that's my personal opinion. And right now, the legislation is out there floating around. So Steven said, this is an odd time. I chose to come on this morning because due to personal reasons, I was unable to post a video yesterday, and I just didn't want to disappear in the middle of, like, there's a lot going on in Bitcoin right now, and I've basically done a video every day for the last 2 years, so I didn't like the fact that I wasn't able to get on yesterday, so I didn't want to have to wait and have a delayed reaction video this morning. So I jumped on, and we'll see how this goes. Some people like the morning live stream. Some other people, I'm not sure. Maybe that's our next poll. Time to power down landing. Thank you, Tom, for keeping us grounded. That's from Alex. Thank you, and you're welcome. Steven said, good to see you, though. Thank you. I appreciate it. Fonz said, I really like your videos, and it seems very objective. Just for the full transparency, as Zach is coming to speak on your channel, have they ever approached you for any sponsoring of content? So no Bitcoin miner has ever approached me for sponsored content. I get accused of that relentlessly in the comments section. I just don't address those comments. You'll notice if somebody wants to vent and say awful things about me, then I don't delete their comments. I just don't address them. They're not. It's hard enough for me to address the comments of the. I get a lot of very high quality comments in my comments section, and it's hard enough for me to get to those, and I think that's important. So I just let and I don't delete it. If somebody wants to say that, they can say it, but no, I have no. I have done 2 sponsored videos on this channel, but you'll always know because I do a big thing and I make it super crystal clear and post a banner that, this is a sponsored video. I've done 1,000 videos and 2 of them are sponsored. So, and I'm not saying I won't do more in the future if it's a company that I like. And if one of the Bitcoin miners were to come to me, then I would certainly disclose this video is different. This is a sponsored video. This is, because, for the most part, this is my, you're saying it seems objective. I try to be as objective as I can. Obviously, everybody has their own personal biases and favorites, but, I try to just report. This is a great industry because monthly, all of the large players in this industry give us a full detailed report. I won't say full, but there's more and more details included in their monthly operational update. So once a month, we get a really good look under the hood on these companies. A bunch of them are now starting to disclose their energy cost per Bitcoin for the month in their monthly operational update. So that's a new crucial piece of information. Now, I suspect the 3 or 4 companies that are doing that are the ones that have the cheapest energy costs, so that is good news for them to report. Energy is spiraling up for some of these companies. So Bitcoin being in this crypto winter, bear market, whatever you want to say, Bitcoin under 20,000 is bad news for about half of the Bitcoin miners. Forget net income and profitability. It starts to be a situation where there's no gross profit. So taking out the non-cash items, depreciation, non-cash compensation, all that stuff, if you're not making money from scratch, if your energy cost plus cost of operations are more than mining a single Bitcoin, then you're upside down. That doesn't mean you should shut down either, because if you're able to hold some of those Bitcoin, in theory they're going to be worth a lot more someday in the future. So just because you mined it at $19,000 doesn't mean you're going to sell it at $19,000. But liquidity has dried up, so it's harder and harder with the stock prices as low as they are. This is not an ideal time to do heavy stock dilution. I vigorously recommend against any of these Bitcoin miners taking on debt. Certainly any debt that leverages their Bitcoin, because it's too volatile an asset, and you could end up losing your stack just out of volatility. So I think that's a big mistake. If you want to borrow money against machines on something that resembles decent terms, I guess I'd be less objectionable to that. But it's in these crypto winners, it's the companies that borrowed money that really have gotten destroyed in this crypto winter. I mean, I know every Bitcoin miner is down drastically, but some of these companies, it's not just their stock that's down drastically. There are many Bitcoin mining companies that have had to completely change their operations, a lot of them almost abandoning ship, giving back most or all of their Bitcoin miners in exchange for debt relief and those kind of things. So there were companies that were planning on getting to 15, 20, 30 exahash that are down under 1 exahash right now. So while they didn't go out of business, that was the one thing I think a lot of people were looking for, is defining capitulation and a lot of these companies going out of business and going away. But I think we should take a second look that, a lot of these companies, and I'll just mention some, not to not financial advice, but Stronghold had to totally redo their business model. Argo Blockchain had to sell their facilities. Mawson had to redo their business model. DigiHost ran into some different problems, but they had to majorly redo their business model. Any, which is Sphere 3D, they put out a press release a year ago that they were going to be at 32 exahash by now. Well, they're not even at 1 exahash. So obviously, they had to drastically redo their model. Core Scientific filed Chapter 11, so clearly that's drastic. I mean, you can see it's not just a few of them. There has been carnage here, even though they're not all out of business. They're all of those put together, all those companies added up put together aren't even the size. Core Scientific notwithstanding, they are still the biggest company from a production standpoint, but they are in Chapter 11, so as a shareholder, we don't know what that means. You know, we don't know if there's anything left for us as shareholders. I'm no longer a shareholder, but, you know, that's what we are here. We're investors, so. So my point is there has been, you know, there has been pain. Like, it's not like we need to wait for the pain to come and we need to wait for the capitulation. There has been pain. Chris said thumbs up. Thank you. Brent said the Bitcoin mining sector is the most Darwinian sector there is. No product development, no marketing or product differentiation. Managing cycles, costs, and growth most efficiently wins. I mean, yeah, I don't disagree with that. And you can see, you know, I think I have 18 Bitcoin miners on my list of publicly traded Bitcoin miners, maybe 19 or 20. A couple of them I don't really follow. Luxfolio, some of these, Kern, which is you know, they're doing their merger thing. I'm not really even following them yet. They're all too small. And some of the ones that I were following, it's almost like I like Stronghold, but they don't put out a monthly operational report anymore, and they mine very little Bitcoin. Mawson, stock ticker MIGI, they mined like 40 Bitcoin last month. So, I mean, they're just, these are very, very, very small micro cap, nano cap stock companies. So, but anyway, even of all these big companies, Bitfarms, Hut, Hive, CleanSpark, Riot, Marathon, Cypher, Iris Energy, they all have different business models. Yeah, they're doing the same thing. They're mining Bitcoin, but they've taken a different approach. So, you know, which approach is going to be the best? Who manages their money and liquidity the best? Who got run over by debt? This is definitely survival of the fittest. There's no doubt about it. Colton, welcome. Good morning, or at least it's morning where I am. Stephen English asked, you were thinking of Mara. Have you jumped in yet? I have not jumped in yet. I resisted yesterday. Yesterday, I was very, very strongly considering buying into like 4 things because that was a big push down yesterday. But I just think in the short term, we've switched from bullish momentum to bearish momentum. So I do think we're going to get better buying opportunities. Now, if I was still in the middle of filling out my positions, I would have bought some yesterday. So it depends where you are in your cycle. I now have positions that I consider overfilled. They were larger than initially intended. So opening a new position, you know, I'm already so heavily into the Bitcoin miners that I'm going to make sure that it's a good opportunity the next time I buy in. And I do feel like over the next couple of weeks, we may very well get a chance to, you know, test some lower numbers here. And it's all, I mean, to go back to what I've been saying on the channel every day, this line right here at 21.5 was my last line in the sand. I felt that if we crossed this line, really I felt if we dipped below this line at 22,000, that was bad news. The last line of defense was this line at 21.5, and you can see in, you know, as soon as we crossed that, it was straight all the way down through this line that I thought would be the line of support. Now, on the daily candle, this is holding up as support, but we'll see what happens. And that doesn't mean, even if it holds for today and we have a little bounce back because we're crazy oversold, I still see us maybe potentially running down to 19,000. You know, maybe even 18,000. I don't think so, but maybe. Right? We've definitely switched. The arrow I've been drawing is now a different arrow. I'm now drawing this arrow. That's what's happening. That's the new trend. And again, inside of that trend, I think at the moment we're due for actually a little bit of a bounce up. You know, so we may do, you know, these type of things. I'm making random lines, but my point is from here, I think maybe we're due for a little bit of up because we're monumentally oversold, but that will run its course. I think we're going to run into resistance at 50 on the daily RSI and maybe test some lower lows here. I will buy in again if the right opportunity presents itself. And if we retest these numbers down here at 15,700, first of all, I will have been wrong because I did not think, and I still don't think we're going back to those lows. I think we bottomed out. I really think we bottomed out last June in the 17th. This dark red line was the flash crash in June. I think that was the bottom. I think you can see we had 2 daily candles that brought us down to a unnatural spot here when the FTX situation unfolded. It took a couple of months for that to shake out, and we quickly jumped right back to where we were before that started. So I don't think that's going to happen again, but who knows, right? Where somebody left me a comment the other day, oh, you're just guessing. And so I can report to everybody, I don't know the future. So, you know, in that regard, we're all just making an educated guess. And that's the reality. So that's why you've got to be flexible and you got to watch and you got to be willing to change. Right? I've been bullish for a long time here. I've said this cycle has been bullish, but my parameter was I think if we get below this line, that's going to be a change in the trend. So we did get below that line yesterday. So now I've got to reevaluate. So I'm going to wait a minute. All right, let's see. I'm going to call the poll final. We got a lot of votes on this poll. So we are still leaning bearish. 64% said the next move is to the downside. 36% say the next move is up from here. So that mirrors yesterday's poll. So it seems like we're still a little bit. Overall, we spent about a month of these polls being bullish. So now as of yesterday, it looks like we're a little bit bearish in the short term. I think that makes sense. So I probably agree with that. So I'm going to end that poll. Robert is asking a question that was my first thought. If the Fed's tax, can states give tax breaks to offset? And the answer to that, you know, that may be one of the things that happens. And there's a few states in specific that are very Bitcoin miner friendly. The two that jump out at me the most are Texas and Georgia. But Pennsylvania is also very Bitcoin friendly. There's some other states. So yes, that is a potential, and that would really make winners and losers. So now you're going to have the federal government trying to make, you know, drive out Bitcoin miners. You're going to have certain states trying to attract them. So yeah, I think it gets ugly. I don't think they're going to want to go down that path. I think once it gets to a real conversation, they're going to realize that is a, in my opinion, that is a dumb idea. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you tax? There's some of these people that are using stranded fuel, wasted fuel. So why would you put a surplus, a tax on stuff that was just going to be wasted anyway, right? It wasn't going to be used at all. Now you're going to be punished for using it. It doesn't make any sense. So they're going to have to dig a lot deeper and do a little bit more thinking than some generic 30% penalty, in my opinion. Barry said, dropping dollar indicates lower interest rates soon. So, yeah, I got the eye on the DXY. Under 103 is that's my line in the sand. I think things start to get good. Under 103, under 100 would be great. And today, so you guys let me know why you think this is. All of a sudden today, and I don't know if it was the jobs number, the unemployment number. This is now, and it's changing in real time. Like, the futures are now 50-50 on the next rate hike, being either 25 basis points or 50 basis points. So this yesterday was almost 70%. It's now down to 50%. It was actually, it was, 50 basis points was dominating, and it's going down. So I don't know why that is. I know the unemployment did tick up a little more than expected, but more jobs were created than we expected as well. I don't know that really we gleaned any information from those numbers. So did US BTC just get court ordered to shutter operations in Niagara Falls? I don't know the answer to that question, so that's the first thing I'm writing down on my list today. Because that would have ramifications, and they did. HUT put out a press release with their monthly operations. They also put out a press release talking more about the potential merger of equals. So I definitely will be doing a video on that to do a deeper dive. DXY is down because of the bank run risk. First Republic, that's right, is another bank. Blue Team Racing says judge signs contempt order directing U.S. Bitcoin to cease operations in the falls. Yes, they have to close the location. So does anybody know how much exahash they were running there? Plus a $1 million fee. So nobody likes to lose $1 million, but that's a little slap on the wrist. I'm curious as to how much of their operations were there. And again, New York, that's one of the, it's the least Bitcoin miner friendly state in the United States. So I'll look into that and see more what happened. I'm going to do one last quick poll. So this is just a yes, no. This is my first morning live stream, so I'm just wondering, do we like morning live streams? Should I do more of these, or should I just keep doing what I'm doing and we don't want to mess around with this? And I'm just going to shout out one more time. We do have, let me put a link in the description. Also, want to go back. Hold on. Let me see. Where'd it go? Scott Richardson. Thank you. Scott Richardson joined the membership today. So if you're still here, much appreciated. Thanks for joining. Tom, would you consider a deep dive in MicroStrategy? They have loan from SI. It's possible they could renegotiate it at a discount. So MicroStrategy. So obviously they're a gigantic player in Bitcoin. They're not a Bitcoin miner, but they hold a massive quantity of Bitcoin. And then I'm just going to put a link for anybody else interested in joining the membership. I'm putting a link in there. Again, it's partnered up with YouTube, so you don't have to share your information with any other third party. So hopefully that, I thought, was the easiest and most convenient way to do that. All right, welcome to Talking Investing. Robert. Welcome. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Round of applause for Robert. Welcome to the Talkin' Investing Squad. You'll see a bunch of content already in there ready for you after the live stream that you can take a look at. And then members only live stream on Tuesdays. And on that members only live stream, the members pick a company for me to do a deep dive video on. So that is the library of content that we're building up. We have a lot of members only deep dive videos. Silvergate was one of them, just for your information. So we have very savvy investors in our group. So we do get a lot of outstanding suggestions. And for me, even though I spend the vast majority of all day, every day looking at all this stuff, no one person can know every sector and every stock. So getting people with different areas that they focus on together, I think, has been a big, big help to the members on the channel, hopefully, and the subscribers overall on the channel as well. So thank you, Robert, for joining. Much appreciated. Let's see how the poll is going. All right, so we're just into the poll. If you have not voted, we got 20 votes, but we got a lot more people than that. So if you're interested in voting, it's free to vote. Let me know what you guys think. And you can smash the like button, although I'm going to wrap it up soon. I think this was an impromptu live stream. I just really, really wanted to talk about this stuff because this was I think this was a shift, right? I think once we crossed... To me, once this line did not hold, you can see we took a pretty vicious turn to the downside. That was my most important line of support, and we just went right through it. It looks like we maybe in the short term have caught ourselves here at this line of support, which is at around 19,900. That's the high from the previous bull cycle back in 2017. So it's now 2023. That's 6 years ago almost. So we're back to where we were 6 years ago. Bitcoin has never done that in any of its previous cycles. So, in a lot of ways, we are at very, very oversold levels versus anything that's ever happened to Bitcoin. Having said that, you can see there's a bunch more lines here that we could potentially get to before we get back to our recent lows from November from the FTX situation. And again, this was a flash crash. You can see we had 2 days where everybody was kind of getting worried about FTX, and then everything unraveled. And on the 8th and 9th of November, I mean, that was down. We'll do the 4 days from the top to the bottom, was like 27% move to the downside. So that was a massive move to the downside. It took 2 full months to recover from that and start running back up. But you can see once it did, we ran straight back up. So this is all these lines of support are less meaningful because you can see we ran down straight through them all. We ran up straight through them all. So, these have not proven to be big lines of support and resistance in the past. So that's why big moves, sometimes there's gaps now getting filled, which is what just happened yesterday, right? We just ran from this line right down to this line. No stops along the way. So hopefully this line holds. The best case of all scenarios would be that this line holds and, we start to get some good news and things start moving in the right direction. That's not what I'm counting on. For me, just from a technical standpoint, I think we've moved now into a short-term bearish. So, and this is not, I don't think, I'm not calling a new low and the end of the world. I just think that in the short term, the momentum is going to be bearish. And we could hit some lower lows before we turn back around and start our run back up again. I still stand by that. I think we have bottomed out. We've long since bottomed out. So I don't think we're going to revisit those bottoms. We'll see if that happens or not. So I will use, if we do hit some of these lower lines, to me, I will use that as an opportunity to continue to dollar cost average in. And if we get low enough, I may do some Bitcoin itself. Right now, I'm totally invested in the Bitcoin miners, so not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence and do what you're comfortable with. Robert Anderson, Tom gives so much information and is a rock through these unsteady times. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. And that's why I wanted to jump on today. I yesterday was one of the only days since I started this that, other than a year ago, I got COVID and pneumonia, and I was sidelined for a little while. But other than that period, I've tried to be on here every single day, and I did not want to miss a big down day because obviously, like, this was an important day. So I wanted to jump on here and get with everybody. Oh, if somebody can tell Robert how to get to the members-only Discord, and I will try to Nathan is saying there's a video to walk you through it. I'll see if I can repost that video for members, because I know there's a couple of members. You can link those two things up and get to the Discord, members-only Discord, so which is good. So hopefully, if you don't find that, I will try to put a post up so that everybody who's not there yet can find that. So, all right, it's lunchtime. I'm going to wrap up, but I want to thank everybody very much for joining me on the first ever morning live stream. But it was important enough day. We've had some major price action here. We had the government put out a potential Bitcoin miner tax. We have the SI situation going on. So there's a lot going on. And the main thing I wanted to say is this was my official line to switch from short-term bullish to short-term bearish. So I got to stick with that. But again, I'm not calling for a free fall. I'm not calling for a flash crash. I just think, we test some lower numbers. And I don't think we retest our all-time lows. I think we're past that. So that's what I got for you guys this morning. Have a great day trading, everybody. And today is Friday, unless I lost track of time. So I will do a live stream after the market closes as well. So let's hope the rest of the day is positive, and hopefully I see a lot of you guys. I'll end this last poll. So 93% said yes, they like the morning live stream. So we're going to have to dig more into that and see if we can find a way to make that happen. So I appreciate to all the members, all the subscribers, and everybody who joined us. Thanks so much. Good luck the rest of the trading day, and I will see you guys this afternoon.